For nearly a decade, the world fell in love with a Clampett family, but few characters provided as much comedic fuel as the dim-witted, lovable Jethro Bodine and the sharp, intellectual Miss Jane Hathaway. On screen, their chemistry was a vital organ of the Beverly Hillbillies. Off-screen, however, the story was far more shadowed. Now, at 88 years old, Max Baer Jr., the last surviving cast member of the legendary sitcom, is finally breaking his silence. In the royal time of Hollywood, we explore the regrets, the misunderstandings, and the long-hidden truth about his relationship with the late Nancy Kulp. Born into a legend, the shadow of the champ, Maximilian Adalbert Baer Jr. didn't enter the world as a blank slate. He was born in 1937 to Max Baer Sr., the world heavyweight boxing champion. Growing up in the shadow of a towering, charismatic sports icon gave Max Jr. a unique brand of confidence, but also an early taste of the pressures of fame. While he excelled in sports and studied philosophy at Santa Clara University, it was the creative pull of Hollywood that ultimately won him over. After a series of small roles in shows like 77 Sunset Strip, he landed the part that would define, and at times, haunt, his entire life, Jethro Bodine. The double-edged sword of Jethro Bodine. When the Beverly Hillbillies premiered in 1962, it became an instant cultural phenomenon. Max's portrayal of Jethro was a masterclass in physical comedy and timing. Yet, when the show ended in 1971, Max found himself trapped. Casting directors couldn't see the actor past the dim-witted cousin. Rather than fading away, Max reinvented himself as a savvy independent filmmaker. He produced and directed hits like Macon County Line, 1974, and Ode to Billy Joe, 1976, proving he had the business acumen and artistic depth to succeed behind the camera. Yet, no matter how many millions his films made, the ghost of Jethro remained. The Miss Jane mystery. The truth about Nancy Kulp. For decades, rumors circulated about a rift between Max Baer Jr. and Nancy Kulp. While audiences saw Jane Hathaway and Jethro as a comedic match made in heaven, the actors were worlds apart. At 88, Max reflects on those years with a new sense of humility. Nancy was an extraordinary woman, and I don't think I appreciated that enough while we were working together, Max admits. The tension, he explains, wasn't rooted in hatred, but in a fundamental clash of styles. The academic versus the instinctive. Nancy Kulp was highly educated and took the craft of acting with a disciplined, academic seriousness. Max was playful and instinctive, often leaning into the broad comedy that Nancy found challenging to reconcile with her professional dignity. Isolation on set. Max now recognizes that the show's reliance on broad, slapstick humor often left Nancy feeling isolated. She carried herself with dignity, and sometimes that dignity was misunderstood, he notes. A regret that lingers. One of the most poignant revelations from Max involves the years after the show. Nancy struggled significantly with typecasting and eventually transitioned into politics. Max admits that he didn't reach out when he should have. That's something I regret, he says candidly. There are moments in life when picking up the phone can change everything. I didn't do that. Nancy Kulp passed away in 1991, leaving their relationship frozen in a state of unresolved tension. Today, Max uses his voice to ensure her legacy is respected, not just as a comedic foil, but as a brilliant, disciplined actress who helped build a television empire. Loyalty, loss, and the business of legacy. Max's later life has been a tapestry of profound connection and devastating sorrow. He remained fiercely loyal to his mentor Buddy Ebsen, visiting his bedside for a private, emotional farewell just before Ebsen's death in 2003. However, in 2008, tragedy struck when his girlfriend, Cher Rhodes, tragically took her own life at his home. The event brought intense media scrutiny and a somber shadow to his later years. Even through personal grief, Max has remained a fierce protector of his intellectual property. In 2014, he took on CBS in a high-profile legal battle over the rights to the Jethro name, defending his vision for a Beverly Hillbillies business empire that included themed casinos and restaurants. For Max, this wasn't just about money. It was about owning the character that had claimed so much of his life. A final thank you. As the last man standing from the original Hillbillies cast, Max Baer Jr. understands that his legacy is tied to the truth. By speaking openly about Nancy Kulp, he is finally closing a chapter that has remained open for over 50 years. If I could say anything to her now, it would be, thank you, Max says. She helped create something that still brings joy to millions. What is your favorite Miss Jane and Jethro moment? Do you think Max was right to stay silent for all these years, or should the cast have been closer? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the real lives behind the Kulp family, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell notification so you never miss an update here.